Hi, and welcome to TTELT, Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers, a program of educators worldwide. I'm your host today, Melanie Gobert.
Hello, everyone. This is Melanie Gobert. I'm your host for today's episode of TTELT, Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers, a podcast brought to you by educators worldwide. Joining us today is Dr. Pat Dougherty. He's the Dean of Faculty and Professor of Literature and History at Akita International University in the north of Japan. And currently, he is the Teaching Helping Teachers Publications Chair and the coordinator for the Bangladesh program. Welcome, Dr. Pat.
Thank you, Dr. Gobert. Pleased to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Okay, Dr. Pat is going to talk to us about Teachers Helping Teachers, facilitating teacher pedagogical development in the Asia-Pacific region. So Dr. Pat, first of all, tell us exactly what is Teachers Helping Teachers?
Okay, Teachers Helping Teachers is a nonprofit that was organized way back in 2004. And primarily what we do is we organize volunteer teacher trainers or teacher faculty developers to go out and bring teacher development, teacher faculty development conferences basically to the people in the Asia Pacific region. So for example, we do programs in Bangladesh, in Kyrgyzstan, we do programs in the Philippines and Vietnam. We have a program in Laos. We have done some programs in Nepal as well, and we are expanding slowly. But we basically, just to give you a little bit of a background about where it started and why, a friend and I, Bill Basamo, who was the kind of a founder of the program, we're at a conference in Korea. And we met a Bengali lady who was a professor, but also the president of Bangladesh English Language Teachers Association. We asked her, well, after having a cup of tea and talking about the situation in Bangladesh and teaching English teaching there, we asked her, well, what do you need? What do the teachers need? And she said, what we really need is faculty development because it's so expensive to go to conferences or to bring people into the country to do workshops that the typical teacher salary will not allow them to access these things. And of course, this is kind of before maybe the internet and everything else became so prevalent, especially in that part of the world. And so our suggestion was, well, what if we bring a conference to the people? What if we bring a group of volunteers to Bangladesh to put on a program there? And Dr. Rahman, who was the president of BELT at that time, said that'd be great. And so we organized, and we had our first program back in 2005, and we were able to get 6 volunteers to go with us. And Delta thought that we might have about 20 to 40 people there. Well, we had over 200. And we ended up doing double sessions. And at that stage, we didn't even have a name. We kind of jokingly called ourselves Friends of Bill because it was Bill Basamo was kind of the senior professor. He passed away a few years ago, but he was kind of later in his career as a professor of English, and then they asked us, can you come back next year? And so we thought, okay, well, this was great, and maybe we better have a name. So we came up with Teachers Helping Teachers because that's kind of at the heart of it, what we do. And then we expanded. Bill passed away in 2008. I became the president of this organization. And then kind of to keep our nonprofit status, and kind of give us a little bit more of a network, we joined, kind of became a special interest group of JALT, of the Japanese Association for Language Teaching. And that was kind of the genesis of it. And we've expanded. We put on literally hundreds now of programs throughout Asia. always kind of focusing on places where there's a real need, out in the countryside in Bangladesh, putting on programs. Same thing for Laos, for Vietnam, for Kyrgyzstan. So we try to get an association of some sort, either a university or like in Bangladesh, a national education association or language association to kind of act as our co-sponsor for our programs. We also have for years now encouraged through our journal cooperation of research. We try to really encourage, young faculty in high school, junior highs, as well as universities to work with our THT volunteers, who primarily they come out of Japan, but they're international. We've had people from Argentina, from Canada, the United States, Germany, all over the world. The one unifying thing is that they're kind of based in Japan, usually at a university, and to join us and do these programs. So it's been successful. And we're looking at 20 years now of this work. We've our founder passed away, but we want to keep the light shining, shall we say. We are completely a voluntary organization. People pay for their own flights to whatever country we're doing the program in. Usually our hosts will take care of all the arrangements for a venue and that. And due to COVID, we've also explored and done a lot of programs now online as well. In fact, our program in Bangladesh has now kind of evolved into a one-day online for kind of the Bengali diaspora. So we'll have people kind of unified by being Bengali educators, but from all over the world kind of join for our Friday session. Then we have a Saturday session in person, usually in Dhaka. And then we travel outside of Dhaka to the regional areas out in the countryside and do another program. And just like, for example, in Bangladesh, we have teachers unified by the fact they are pretty much all English teachers. But we, junior high, high school, university, pre-service, in-service teachers. It's a wonderful sort of environment. And we've had upwards of 60, I think, volunteers over the years, which also means people will never just go to one. They tend to want to volunteer over and over again for maybe the same country like Bangladesh, or they might try Vietnam. I've been to all of the programs except for Kyrgyzstan, but I'm going to be doing that one in September. So that's kind of what we do.
Well, what are some of the challenges that you faced since your beginning in 2005?
Okay, well, our biggest challenge was getting a network of volunteers consistently and being able to advertise what we're doing. And, our founder, Bill Balsamo, was very good about networking. He had a lot of contacts throughout Asia, so he was able to kind of like talk to people. And he was an avid conference goer around Asia. So he would make contacts, for example, in Vietnam and with a professor from Hue University, and he would say, okay, well, is there a program or organization that could sponsor something? And what, after kind of identifying what the needs were. And so, Hue University, the professor went back to Hue University and suggested to the president there, oh, we have this organization I'm familiar with. And then next thing you know, we're invited to go there. And Hue was helping us sponsor a program targeted at high school English teachers, because the government was really pushing to improve English education in the high schools at that time. And so we would have like 200 high school teachers from around Vietnam join us at Hue University, and we put on a program there as well. So I think getting the word out, getting a network together was the initial challenge, but now we kind of have name recognition, and people are kind of coming to us. I think our challenges now is the fact that we don't want to overburden our completely voluntary, group that helps run THT. Everything is a voluntary basis. I'm currently past president, but currently I'm the coordinator for the Bangladesh program. We have coordinators for each of the countries that we go to. And I'm also publication chair, which means I run and edit the journal. We're trying to get it Scopus index, but that's a challenge because again, everybody is a volunteer, and we have a small amount of money that we get from JALT because of dues as a special interest group. But again, it's just kind of word of mouth, people talking to people. What's good is we've had enough volunteers that nowadays we've kind of empowered the volunteers, facilitators, to get the word out too. So occasionally we get like contacts that come to us through a person who volunteered in Vietnam maybe 2 or 3 years ago, says, hey, I was at a conference in Indonesia and there's some interest here. So that's it. But our biggest challenge, I would say, is the networking, getting the word out, and also the fact that we're all volunteers. We don't have any, full-time staff of any sort. But it's amazing over the 20 years what we've been able to accomplish. It was just an idea from a conference, and we thought it would be a one-off trip and one-off program in Dhaka, and now multiple countries, dozens of programs, thousands of teachers have attended our workshops, and we've had dozens upon dozens of volunteers. And I recently did a study and published a chapter on the benefits of volunteering for our teacher facilitators, because we've done a lot of research on the benefits that have accrued for those who've attended our programs, but I was kind of curious to know, because I know we who volunteer get a lot out of this experience as well. So I did a lot of research on that, and everything from the sense of professional satisfaction to networking to the typical thing of helping you kind of flesh out resumes and that. But most people come back to the fact that, for them, it was a chance for them to really feel like they were giving back to the profession in a way, in a real way, because, you can have conferences, you go give conference presentations, but this is where we're kind of rolling up our sleeves and getting out there in the countrysides of these countries and meeting teachers who are oftentimes working under really what might be almost unbelievable challenges. Like there's a young man I met in Mindoro Oriental in the Philippines who built his own school because his village had no school, and he was able to get scholarships to go to college, but then he wanted to give back, so he actually built a school himself physically in his village, and he is the school teacher. He has it's open classrooms, and he has kids from kindergarten all the way through high school that he is teaching himself because he wanted to give back to his village community. He said a lot of people, they'll leave the village and they'll go to Manila and they'll never come back. And I said, no, this is where my home is, and I wanted it. And so you have a chance to meet people like that, and you feel that you've helped them because you've been able to share from your wealth of knowledge and experience. And so that's kind of a beautiful thing about it, I suppose.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us today, Dr. Pat. This
You're
has
welcome.
been Melanie Gobert, your host for today's episode of TTELT, Teaching Tips for English Language Teachers, a program of educators worldwide. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us today. Share with us how you are using these tips. Leave us a comment or voice message on social media or at ttelt.org. Thanks for joining this episode of TTELT, brought to you by educators worldwide. Follow, like, and subscribe to TTELT on your social media, and try a new teaching tip today.